Roadman Saf,
Hey everyone, this
aka
is
Saf.
Hey
Yo, it's your boy Funke, the coolest teen rapper online.
What's up? It's me, Alfie. You're
Hey,
listening to
I'm
the
Ezra
Cool
Jordan,
Table.
and you're listening to the Cool Table.
You're listening to the Cool
You're now
Table.
listening to
You're
the
listening
Cool
to
Table.
the
You
Cool
are listening
Table.
to the Cool Table.
And I'm not sure if you know this, but right now you're in the cut with my man, Adriel Smile.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Cool Table. We're in the cut with King Daviid.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining us. I call a lot of people king who come on the show, so you're the first, king before I called you a king. So, it's definitely a pleasure to have you on here. Congrats on the album, the EP, of course.
Thank you.
I have a lot of questions to ask you about it because I honestly I do know where to start, but don't know where to start. But Stunning Nostalgia is the name of the project. I didn't like that it was so short. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're playing tricks. It was like 15 minute listen. I was ready to double that up at least. But this is probably the most hip hop album I've heard in a long time. Even though I don't really think of it as like a hip hop album straight away, so to speak, because there are so many influences. But on the third or fourth listen, I realized I'm like, this is probably the most straight hip hop album I've heard in a long time. So I guess how do you kind of define what the album sounds like? Because that's the kind of first thing that came to mind for me.
Yes. So I mean, straight off the bat, it wasn't meant to be something that you have to think too much for you to digest when you're going into the whole thing. I wanted it to be something that would be easy on your ears, something that you flow through. And exactly like you said, I purposely made it that length so you can listen over and over again so that you wouldn't feel like, okay, this was a really nice experience. Let me wait till a week after before I listen to it again. I want it to be something that maybe you listen in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. You know how you always greet your guys, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Mm-hmm. That's exactly how I want it to be.
I think you achieved that for sure. And it definitely, it's an easy listen. And I talked to John and Dom about this when they released their first project a few years back. And it's like, when you're a new artist, you want to make your stuff easily digestible. If you're showing someone a track, you don't show them the whole album all the time. You might show them this song at the pre or this song you play in the whip. So I definitely think that you have that. And on the Album Mode podcast, we talk about an album being no skips. I think your album is maybe this close to a no skips.
Yes.
Like it's right there. And you have a lot of playlist ability. I think that, someone might have one of your songs in their running playlist or maybe their car playlist. So I think that's probably something that helps, especially in 2020, with everything being like a playlist kind of time.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is. And that was on purpose. That was all part of the plan. So I'm just grateful that that's exactly how it turned out.
Take me back to the beginning. When did you start making the album, and what was kind of the first song idea that put Stunning Nostalgia into motion?
Fam, it was when I was out on a run in the morning. I won't even lie. Like, I had one song down, Sunlight, which is the third song. That was already made a while back. And that was literally meant to be the only hip-hop-ish song I was going to make this year. Everything else was meant to be R&B or whatever. And then I go out on the run. I had this song idea for the second one or the first one. I don't remember which one specifically. And I made it the night before. And I went out on the run, added it to my running playlist. And I said, okay, this fits perfectly. Why did I just make an EP of songs literally just like this and just push it out this summer? Like, this time couldn't be even more perfect. So in the next 1 or 2 months, I just had to zone in and then crunch out something, and that was the result.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible. The song that this is probably my stand. My favorite song is "Whose Fault Is It?" That's my favorite song on there. But this song "Broski" was the first song that kind of stuck in my mind.
Yes.
When I first listened to the project, I want to know what was the inspiration behind that for sure to kind of call the song Broski, and you're basically calling a shorty Broski, which is so hilarious.
Yes.
But the song is bigging this girl up. Like, it's not saying, she's in the friend zone or whatever. It's bigging up this girl. So talk about, I guess, the idea for putting that song together.
Yeah, that's perfect. So it came around this time when literally I was just calling everyone broski, broski, broski. Yo, my broski, you want to come to my place? You want to go run some ball? That kind of thing. And then I slapped it into a song. And I'm like, okay, let me talk about girls first of all. But I wanted to see what my values were. I didn't want to be that kind of person that would come and say, oh, she's hot, she's this, she's that kind of thing. I try to look at what is a topic that everyone talks about, but in the different side of it. And then I try to, of course, like you said, there was an element of comedy where I'm using broski for a girl, but it was in the context of I've seen people, some of my friends who had solid relationships with people, and it's because much more than just the fact that they look good aesthetically together, like they're both beautiful, in the sense that they had that chill, goofy, friendly vibe between themselves. And that's what I'm trying to encourage and promote, that much more than just having your girl who's your shorty, actually be friends with this person too. Actually be someone who you can call your bro, but it's a girl. You get what I mean?
Now that's why I rock with the song so much, because that's me too. Like I always say, like, if you're gonna date someone, they should be your best friend, someone you could really rock with. Like, if you want to marry this person, your looks will go away at some point. So you got you could hold it down with. So that's why I love the song. I was like, this guy's making a song for the right, to the right content, for the right reason. So
yeah,
I love that right off the bat.
Thank you. What's up?
Sunlight, man. There's a line in there that I like. It says, you said a couple times, sophisticated sound like there's thunder in my room.
Yes.
Explain that to me.
So sophisticato is this metaphor that I was thinking about the whole time, where it's essentially me. Sophisticato is meant to be the secret to success. Okay. But the truth is that there is no secret. It's mostly just hard work and consistency and dedication to it. But I have this illusion that I want to be successful. And when I say it's like a thunder in my room, imagine having a long day, you're trying to sleep at night, and there's just heavy, loud thunder at night, and it's just disturbing you. It's not letting you sleep. And to me, it felt like all these random voices just coming up at the time and saying, yo, David, come meet me. I'll show you how you can be successful. I'll run you up the numbers. I'll do this. And I see those things as distractions that are not letting me sleep and have peace at what I'm doing, and just trying to pull me off course. That's why I use that metaphor.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Yeah. I like that. Sunlight also, you have like a different kind of voice on it.
Yes.
And again, this is probably something I didn't realize for listen. And this is why I think I really like the EP so much, is because, the first time it was just enjoyable. Things that I would usually notice the first time around, on someone's album, or things that I would stick out to me that I made me not like the EP. I wasn't even thinking about any of those things. So that kind of is a testament to the music. But on Sunlight, your voice is different from how it is on Whose Fault Is It? Even a little different on Broski. Do you have a certain voice that you feel like is your go-to, or more your base, or because you have all these different voices in the same project? So is there one that you resonate more with?
So fun fact, I used to be in the choir when I was in high school.
Crazy.
And I was a bass singer. And people always told me, like, yo, man, you're never going to make it. Nobody likes bass singers. People like all these high-pitched male singers. Those are the people, unless you're like Elvis Presley or all these guys. This guy that sang That's Life, I forgot his name, funny enough. But I said, okay, Sunlight generally sits very well in my range, but Broski pushes me well out of that range. And that's why I said, okay, let me try this out. Let me make it uncomfortable. And when people see that, okay, this bro's pushing it, then they'll really appreciate that a lot more. But Sunlight is my comfort zone. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. My favorite song, said before, Whose Fault Is It, Mr. Man. That one I ran back the first time I listened to it. I listened to that one, just ran it back one more time. On that one, you sound like the RZA. And I thought I couldn't kind of figure out what who you reminded me of until recently. But I love that I thought of that, because RZA's voice is so powerful, and that song is so powerful. And I felt like, if you could sound like anybody for a song like this, this is the person you'd want to sound like. One of my favorite bars in that one is, dreams won't work if I don't put the work in. Yes. Please tell me what was going on when you wrote that down.
Dreams won't work unless I put the work in. That was kind of always been my state of mind growing up. I'm always a big dreamer, this super ambitious guy who wanted to do everything, until one of the people I consider my mentors sat me down and said, bro, you can dream from now to tomorrow. It's only going to remain in your sleep. You need to wake up sometimes and actually start walking or working to make that happen. So dream work is what's going to actually make the reality in the end. And I just put that wordplay together, and that's where we had that. So
I like that one a lot. I like that one a lot. Like, I was like this, and the thing I like about the Whose Fault Is It Mr. Madness, because I feel like there's so many gems on there. I'm just imagining how many listens it must take someone to catch all of that.
That's true.
Because there are those songs that you listen to, you've heard, a million times, and on the 10th listen, you're like, oh,
yes.
and I feel like this is one of those. So to have something like this, already in your repertoire is pretty big. The other one that I liked is lesson learned as long as it don't lessen me.
Yeah, I really love that one.
Yeah, tell us about that. I've never heard someone kind of put it together like that, so I thought that was super unique.
Yeah, I like that one because I'm always talking about how people say failures. People try to avoid that, but then you know how people then say you should treat it more as a lesson in life and grow from it. So people see that lesson as something that's going to bring them down, bring down their reputation, and bring down their ability. And I'm saying no, that I will take that lesson gladly, so long as I'm flipping that and it's actually boosting me forward and not lessening me. And it was just, I was actually when you're listening to your own bars back to yourself, I was actually blown away that way. How on earth did I come up with
this? Impress yourself.
Yes, I was impressing myself, so it was crazy.
That was a good one for sure. And I love that one because, again, people do say that, the avoiding failures, they don't want to try things. And like I've always told people, if you try things, you will learn. You get the knowledge. You got to think about, all the things that your parents try and tell you and say, oh, don't do this, don't do that. They didn't go to school for all these things.
Yes,
they did it, and that's how they learn. So I love that. You're gonna put that message in there. This is how you ended off the EP, and again, this is like the little poem you had at the end. Mama, say your prayer for me. I need to know I can be safe for once. Think about my daily fight. My skin's not built to take a loss.
Yes.
Just tell us about that.
So there was this EP I released a while back. It wasn't really a serious EP. It was just something I wanted to do for Black History Month in 2019. And that was the hook to one of the songs, exactly those same lines. And it was just a story I came up with before going to bed one night, where it's saying that I'm looking ahead on this journey. And it's a journey to try and achieve equity, equality, justice, just in life altogether in that scenario. But the journey looks like it's never going to end. So I'm trying to go through the pain quicker. And I start running faster, try putting in more effort to get that results. I'm just putting this metaphorically, but we can translate this to our current reality right now. And I'm now saying that the consequence of me just literally existing alone, using that same idea of running, is trying to then run me down while I'm trying to stay up and keep running forward. And now I'm seeing like, okay, I don't know what else to do. Let me run to my happy place. My mama, my mama always, she always knows a way. When you're lost as a kid, your mama is who you run to, and she just knows. So I'm just
100%.
Mom, just say a prayer for me. I just need to know I can be safe just once in this rate. And think about my daily fight. My skin's not built to take a loss. Like, it's literally the opposite. As a Black person, I'm built to be successful. We have lots of potential, and I'm not built to take a loss. So you better pray for me so that I can prove that this is actually true. And it was just a nice, wholesome way to end the whole EP.
No, I thought it was a perfect way to wrap it up, and I liked it because it, again, putting your mom in there. Your mom is that safe place. No, I can be safe for once, and I like that. No, I can be safe for once line. And I didn't know that this was from one of your songs last year, but I could tell that this was something that's evergreen, because this is not something that's new. A new feeling. Anyone who's been living as a Black person for how long understands what that is like. And then the ending it with my skin is not built to take a loss. That was huge. What I've been thinking a lot about lately is with everything going on, everyone's saying some artists are being quiet, some labels are being quiet. And you're at a point where you kind of have freedom to to speak however you want. There isn't any really someone pulling you saying no, you can't say this, or you can't say this. Do you feel a responsibility with your music to say something, or is it something that you don't feel a responsibility but you just do it anyways?
I would say it's more of I always feel the guided responsibility. I know I want to say something, but I never want to say something out of impulse and out of context or out of character. So I want to make sure that if I'm saying something, it's something that carries weight. Of course, I know that with the force of the momentum that's going on now, there's that need and desire to want to say something. But once again, I don't want it to just be something shallow. I'd much rather say two things that are going to hit you and continue hitting you for 1 year straight than say 50 things that just hit you for 5 minutes and it's gone. That's kind of the way I see it.
No, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I guess talk about the artists that you look at in terms of your own career. You know, a lot of times you got to kind of see the path, and everyone's path is different, but you know, you have a huge range of influences when it comes to music. Which artists do you look for in terms of kind of career moves to make, like, you know, the music they made before they blew up, or the moves they made to kind of build their fan base more? Is there anyone you look in particular to kind of follow in their footsteps?
There are a good number of people, and there's many. I kind of pick a piece of how they built up their career and put it all together, like the best versions. So let me put 3 different people on the table. I would say Drake is one. Mr. Easy. Do you know Mr. Easy? He's a Nigerian musician.
Yeah.
And there's this guy, Odunsi the Engine. He's like an alternative musician from Nigeria.
Oh, no, I know Odunsi too. Yeah.
You know Odunsi? My guy. Let's go.
I'm up.
Yes, you're up there, man. Your knowledge is there. I love that. So let me even start from Odunsi. Odunsi is an alternative musician in a Nigerian setting or in an African setting, where the major sound there is either you're doing Afro pop or Afro beats, or maybe you're doing hip hop. Hip hop is on the come up now there. He's doing something completely different, and he almost has to rely on building a very niche and specific fan base and have a very committed fan base to him by spending a lot of time in designing a brand around himself. He's not just riding on a wave itself. He has to create that wave for himself. And that's one thing I'm really learning how to do, how to have a solid brand. For Mr. Easy, he's really good at having connections and really working with the right people. One thing I noticed was that initially he wasn't even intending to be a musician.
Oh, wow.
He just wanted to be a promoter. He said his goal was even to bring Lil Wayne to Ghana. That was his ultimate goal, to come perform there. But he knew the right DJs to put his songs in the hands of. He knew the right producers to work with. And he knew that if I had a strong, solid connection with you, you would and you want to look for a feature on a song, you're going to come to meet me first than going out there and doing a random search for who's the next hot person to work with. And that's where I understood the aspect of building friendships with other musicians, because it makes the process of collaboration much easier. Now, Drake in itself is about leveraging your community very strongly and having an identity people can associate with you easily. Because if you're just that random King David out there and people cannot tie you to something, it's very easy for your name to just get lost in the scurry. But I want it to be a sense where people can say, King David, who is that? He is that Nigerian guy who moved to Canada and is making waves in both countries. Very straightforward. That's what I want that identity to be. And that's why I'm picking pieces from each of these 3 people to then craft my own career.
I like that. And definitely, I like that you know kind of exactly which parts from each person and how you want to go about it. Because a lot of things that I see is, you know, a lot of artists are making just whatever the move is that's closest, whatever you can see. You know, you got to think about the moves that you can't see, the moves that are out of your price range or out of what you can do right now. So I definitely love to hear that you're, you know, thinking super far ahead.
Yes, sir.
Top 5. Now, they say the top 5 people in your life are the people that help you be yourself. Now, again, your top 5 can be a top 10 or a top 3. But who are the people in your life that help you remain yourself?
Help me remain. I could easily take the path and just say that I have 4 other people in my family and just fill up the first top 4. But let me just summarize. I'll try and clump up as much as I can. I'll put my parents as one entity. So
there we go.
My dad and mom definitely keep me mature and keep me focused, because like I said, I'm a very ambitious person. They had to teach me when to say no, because saying no is just as important as knowing when to say yes. That's one thing. Both of my sisters, I'll clump them up as 2. They help me in terms of keeping my identity intact, because they're the ones who know me the closest in terms of intimately. So they know when I'm being fake, when I'm trying to pose as a phony, when I'm trying to go off that. And they're not afraid to call me out for it. And that's why I need them in my life. Number 3, I would say, is one of my good friends who is, I would say he's you know how some artists just have this person who is not already a musician or producer or their manager, kind of like just a business partner in a way, someone who's just there in the mix. I have my good friend Evans, who's just like that. He's just involved in every single aspect of my life. And I would say we're both students together. We're both business partners. We're both musicians too. That's just an added part, but we don't really collaborate as much. We have one video we did. And then there's this fourth person who is like my makeshift manager. He is my acting manager per se, but he's not really there. But he's seen my progression and come up, and he's able to see things from a third party perspective, because you need someone like that. I'm only seeing a face on. He knows when to say, okay, you think this sounds good because obviously you're the one who made it, but this song doesn't sound good, man. Don't put it out. He's that kind of guy. And number 5, that's now the toughest one. That spot is still empty. And that's what I'm trying to fill out now. So you said I could do top 4, right? I'll leave top 4.
Okay, perfect. Now you definitely need those people. You talked about, your sister letting you know if you're being fake.
Yes.
And your pseudo manager letting you know when a song is whack. Like, when I was growing up, I'm friends with a lot of women, and a lot of my female friends used to always roast me. Like, any chance they got, always roast me.
Damn.
And now I'm just grateful for it. I have a friend who she goes out of her way to let me know how ugly I am. And, I'm grateful for that now. My head will never be gassed. When the close people to you are letting you know that you're dusty and ugly, there's no way that your head can get too big.
Yeah, I feel you on that one, 100%.
We see this a lot with people getting a whole bunch of money. They buy exotic animals.
Yeah.
Like Tyson with his tiger, Justin Bieber with his monkey. Yes. I want to know, when you get to that level and you're making millions of dollars, which exotic animal are you going to get?
I'm definitely going to get a horse. Actually, a bunch of horses. I've always spoken about how I want to have a farm eventually. Okay. You know how Kanye West just has this open land? I don't know what he calls it. Maybe a farm too?
Yeah.
Like a getaway spot. So some people have cottages. Some people have some islands. An island is the next level step. But
for sure,
I would like to have a farm where I can literally just go, turn off my phone, turn off my laptop, get away for like a week, and have a bunch of horses to just ride around. Because those things are quick, man. Like, I love it.
No, that sounds good. No, that's not. I never heard that one. That just took me away for a second. I was just, I like starting out like a little estate with some horses on it. For sure. I think I was up in Hamilton the other day, but I was somewhere where people had huge houses. Yeah. And there was a house where I could not even see the end of their property.
What?
I was just looking, and I couldn't see an end of it. There was no fence. It was just land on land on land. And I'm like, yeah, something like that with some horses running around. That would be a time. That would definitely be a time.
That's a major flex. That's when you know you made it.
For sure. Now, we do a segment called Wednesday Wisdom on the show, hosted by our boy Brandon Gibbs. And he does a motivation every week, and it's on a different topic. Now, I want to ask you, you said you're a really ambitious guy.
Yes.
Trying to stay level-headed, trying to make things happen. Is there anything that you kind of remind yourself of that keeps you going throughout the week?
Yeah. One thing that has always been my watchword, especially this year, is consistency. And that's what I always tell people. Sometimes people say, David, you have a lot on your plate. You have so many things going on at the same time. How are you able to have done this? Or even music in itself. The only reason why I've been able to get even just this tiny stage that I've reached was based off consistency. Now, I'll much rather have you, even if, let's say, you're a songwriter and you write one line in your notebook every single day, but you never, ever stop. In a whole month, that's 30 lines, which could even make up a full song if you want. And that's literally going to go a much longer way than if you just do things in one burst and then slow down and lose momentum. Because when you lose momentum, it's very hard to pick that thing back up. So what I try to do is, even if I know that I just want to do a tiny amount of music today, I've done something and I'm never going to stop. And the compound effect is going to make it add up so much that in the long term, people would then begin to see the fruit of the labor. So
oh, man.
Watchword, man.
No, I loved that one. Consistency is a huge word in my house. So
Yes.
I love that one. How I always describe it to people is, consistency is the key to success. Success is not doing something once.
Yes.
Success is doing it over and over again. The best basketball players are not the best because they had one good game. It's because they have good games every week. So
yes,
for sure, consistency is huge. I want to thank you for joining us on In the Cut.
Thank you.
I'm happy we got to do this. Please, everyone, go check out the album Stunning Nostalgia. And I'm personally asking you, the next time you put out music, please more than 5 songs. I want us to hit double digits. I want us to get to at least 45 minutes of something.
Wow.
We're asking for more, and that's a good thing. What the 5 was good, but we want 5 more. But thank you so much for joining us. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, please leave us a rating. Apple Podcasts, no less than 5 stars. On Spotify, share it, subscribe, and again, subscribe to us on YouTube. We'll be having new episodes every week. This has been King David.